Hey everyone, Scrye here, and it's been a while. It's been a little bit over a month, and I apologize for our absence. I will explain the reason for our absence in detail in another video that I plan to record as well tonight, and I will leave it at that for now. Anyway, let's get to the meat of this episode, and for something I've been postponing for 5 months now, that is the Fallout 4 review. I've said over and over again, oh yeah, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Well, now it is finally here. So let's start with the basics. It's set in post apocalyptic Boston. It features, I guess this is a sort of spoiler, but anyone who is interested in the game, play the game for at least the first hour knows this. You are actually born before the main character, you are actually born before the bombs fell, which I thought was a really cool idea and really cool concept that they do touch on, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But I thought that was a really cool concept, and I love how they incorporated post-apocalyptic Boston and how they incorporated some of the major landmarks and stuff like that of Boston into the game, and it was really cool. Like how they did with DC and Fallout 3. This was and New Vegas even. New Vegas had some pretty cool landmarks and stuff like that. They've incorporated into the game, and Bethesda again knocks it out of the park with that with the setting. I really love that. So that's how I'm going to start with a major positive on that. So I'm just going to kind of keep with the pros for now as we start this review. The first pro that I kind of want to touch on is something I really loved about this game, and it actually comes with in-game footage for once. So I'm excited to do that. I said, "Fuck it, it's fair use. They can give me a copyright claim if they hate this review, whatever." Anyway, weapon customization is the one thing I really love about this game, and I'm going to just quick talk over a video of me goofing off customizing a weapon. So here goes. All right. So as you can see, I'm customizing this 10 millimeter pistol into various little mods I can do. As you can see here, I can adjust magazines, grip, the barrel itself, stuff like that. That's actually a really cool system that I really like in the game, and I love the different customization options and the fact that you have to like have gun nut and science and other skills in order to unlock some of these things. And I really like that. It's like you have to know what you're doing in order to customize the weapon. And the customization system isn't overly bulky, but it isn't overly small either. Like it's you get that. That's it. Like the you do have a repeating theme with some items, but it's seeing it. Oh yeah, this is for a sniper rifle. This is for this. This could benefit this type of weapon. This could benefit this type of weapon. To the point where I have like four major weapons when I was playing this game. If I was playing with guns, like I'd have a short range, a long range, a medium range, large capacity, etc. Just all the different customizations they could do with the weapon system, and I felt it was a really well done feature to the game that didn't like make it seem too out of place. And what I also really liked was along with the weapon customization, they made it so you could pick up junk and turn it into pieces that you could use to make these mods as well as other items. Like you could use it to make chemicals or med packs, stuff like that, stim packs, etc. I thought that was really cool that they used basically a recycling system, made a post-apocalyptic world a little bit more realistic, which they did in prior, and I think they actually incorporated into this game survival mode. I loved how they made that. Anyway, I'm getting a little off topic. I'm sorry. I'll reel it back a little bit. But yeah, I really liked the weapon system. I felt it was really well done, and it was really cool to see what I could do with it. All right, so the next pro I want to talk about would definitely have to be your companions. Like, I know a lot of games really don't do a companion system all that well. Like, you get a couple games where it's like, oh, cool idea, whatever. But this is the first time I've actually really enjoyed the companion system in a Bethesda game, especially. Like, in prior games, I really never enjoyed the companion system. Like in Fallout 3, eh, it just wasn't all that great. Fallout New Vegas was awesome. I really did like that companion system, but the AI was just a little funky. Um, but this time around, like the AI was great. They actually were very useful. The system was awesome. Like I could actually say, "Oh, go hack that computer," or "Go do this, go do that," and they do it for me, and it was awesome to see that like level of interaction with the world and your companions. But that isn't just the only reason I really liked the companion system. The other reason I really liked the companion system was the companions themselves. They had great backstories. They had great character. Like they were actually fleshed out characters, and I really, really liked that. And I found myself constantly doing side quests and main story missions, going back to my base and picking out a different companion because I felt that they would enjoy like I know that sounds weird, but they would enjoy that part of the story a lot more than say another companion in that case. And the reason why is because in the little like right hand corner, you'd often see messages like, "Oh, this companion liked this companion hated this companion is okay with this." And I really liked that level because one companion would hate the fact that you were stealing, the other would revel in it. The other would be okay that you were drinking and doing drugs in the game. The other would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I really liked that interaction with the companion system. It really made for an interesting part of the story. I'd have to say my favorite companion overall, like of all of them, I do have a couple favorites, but I'd have to say Nick Valentine was my most favorite companion. He had that snarky sense of humor. He always seemed to have something to say whenever I send him on a mission. Like I actually have the idea to do a couple playthroughs with certain different companions, him more so than others, just so I can like hear all of the dialogue that they have about certain missions and stuff like that. I really want to see how that plays out. So add some replayability to the game considerably. And like I said, they have their own stories, and they even some of them have even their own side quests they could go do to learn about that character even more. So I felt that was a really great addition to the game this time. Like the companion system is spot on, and there's so many of them. Like I'll quick post a picture of how many there are. Like I can't get a number off the top of my head. I have to add it in post production. The picture, but I feel like it was a lot more than New Vegas did, and you get 8 in New Vegas, maybe 9 in New Vegas. I can't quite remember. But and this isn't even including DLC. And I heard that I haven't gotten a chance to play the DLC, but I heard they added more companions in the DLC even. So that's not including the companions you get in the DLC. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the companion system. I really, really enjoyed it. All right, now to kind of segue into a sort of pro, sort of con. All right, so it's going to have to be the storyline. I know that sounds weird that it's sort of pro, sort of con. And I'll explain. To start off with the basics, of course, it's set in post-apocalyptic Boston. We knew this way, way in advance. Like it got leaked and then it got confirmed, of course, that it was going to be in Boston. But I've always liked how Fallout, at least in like I've always liked how Fallout did the background, and Bethesda has done a great job in this game and in prior games of like taking historical landmarks and kind of fitting them into how they might work in a post-apocalyptic setting. Like I loved Fallout 3 because of how they did Washington D.C. Like they had all these major monuments, but you had people clueless of why they were there, and like they had their own little world, and they had this world building experience, which you get in Fallout 1 and 2. But I feel Bethesda took it to a whole new level, and that I feel is part of a good storyline, is good world building. And they did it in New Vegas, and they did it in this game. Like I loved seeing all the major Boston landmarks and monuments and stuff like that, and it was just really great to see how they incorporated everything, and especially like how they incorporated Fenway Park into a city called Diamond City, and how that actually played a part in baseball was made into this like amazing thing. It was really cool to see stuff like that. And like I said, they knocked it out of the park again with great world building and stuff like that. Now, what was also interesting about the story, and this is kind of just going to be the basic gist of the story I'm going to give you, is you play a vault dweller who actually, because of what the vault did, he is actually from before the bombs fell. Like the main character, you see the bombs fall as you enter the vault. I thought that was a really cool touch to have a character that both experiences before and after the bombs, and they actually do handle that a lot in a lot of storylines and a lot of the dialogue. Like you can play on it and learn a lot, and like say, "Oh, I was here," and like person was like, "What? You were there?" That makes no sense to them, that it's like, oh, okay, cryogenics. Oh, now it makes sense. But no, it was really cool to see how they did that. And what it was this father's journey to find our father. I played a guy. Our father and mother's journey to find their son. And of course, you get distracted by side quests, like any good Bethesda game has. Is tons and tons and tons and tons of side quests, and this game is great with side quests. And I love that, and I love how it all kind of came together for the main storyline. And that's kind of what disappoints me. I'm not trying to spoil it too much, but the best way to describe the ending for Fallout 4 for me is this. I felt like after all my work, after doing all the things, you could literally do everything in this game in one playthrough, and if you played it properly. But then at the end, it's kind of like Mass Effect 3, where it's like, what's behind door number X? And that's it. All of this open world content, all this, oh, choose your own adventure kind of feel, and then you gotta get stuck with option A, option B, option C for the ending. And I really felt that was a very disappointing way to go with a storyline that I felt was really good. I kind of wished there was a fourth option. Like, just having that fourth option, I felt would be happy, you know? Or even like a conglomeration where it's like a little bit of option A, a little bit of option C, stuff like that. I felt like that could have really benefited the storyline. But overall, storyline was great. It was good. But I just felt it had a disappointing ending. And like I said, the more I say it out loud, the more it sounds like Mass Effect series in general. Overall, great story, disappointing ending. Simply put. Alright, for the next sort of pro, sort of con, more so pro, because honestly, the only con I had for the combat system was this. I really felt the combat system plays better with a controller than a keyboard and mouse. And the reason why I ended up with a keyboard and mouse was because I accidentally got the game on PC. Like, I pre-ordered the collector's edition, but was sent a PC version of the collector's edition instead of the PS4 version like I ordered. So I had to play it on PC. Luckily, my PC could handle it, so that was no issue. Like, I was able to play it, no problem. And I think I mentioned this in an unboxing video. But anyway, no, that's what I felt like the combat system like really played better with the controller in hand. Like, I felt the same way about the old Fallout games anyway. That's how I always felt, because I would always play them on the console. Like, even though I could play them on the PC, I always played them on the console because I liked the feel of the console controller. And of course, I know I could play it with the controller, but I don't have one for my PC. I know, blasphemous. But yeah, I felt like, but the combat was good overall. Like, they added a little bit more, like it's a little bit more beefy, but it didn't take away from the previous two games where you had a lot of good, easily, simply, just really good combat. Like, the combat system in Fallout is one of the rare forms I actually like first-person shooters. Like, it was a really well done first-person shooter that I actually enjoyed a lot more. And like I said, I feel it would be better with controller in hand, though. The only other thing that could be a sort of con is I felt there was random odd difficulty spikes. Just out of nowhere, I'd die, and in one point I died like 7 times. But I think that might have been my fault, partially. But I always felt like there's those weird, odd difficulty spikes, even though I was still low level. So there was that. So I guess that's all I really have to say about the combat system. So, I guess we're segueing into the parts of the game that I actually really didn't like. And I'd have to say the first thing that I didn't like, and honestly, after thinking about it, I think this might be the only thing of the entire game that I did not like. And that was, simply put, the building system, the settlement system that they kind of hailed as, oh, this is going to be the reason why this game is awesome. Look at all the cool things you can design, stuff like that. Honestly, I felt the interface was a bit clunky. And my friends were saying, oh, well, you got to use console commands and use mods. It makes your life so much easier. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I could use console commands and make my life easier. But that still doesn't take away from the point that the system itself is clunky. Because if I have to use console commands to make my life easier, that means the system wasn't well developed and was kind of just tacked on almost, it felt. It was a cool idea, cool concept, but I just feel it was poorly executed because I had to find it difficult to match things up. Like, yeah, sure, it'd lock on, but it wouldn't lock on. I couldn't get things nice and perfect sometimes. Other times I couldn't delete a building entirely. I couldn't delete a building at all sometimes. Like, I couldn't delete even some of the simplest things that, oh, I can delete that pile of tires, but I can't delete that one. I can't delete this foundation of a house, but I can delete that one. It just felt really weird. And of course, with console command and stuff like that, I can override it. But at the same time, I felt that was lacking. So the settlement system was a cool idea, and I did futz around with it a little bit. Like, even a little bit frustrated, I did futz around with it a bit. But I felt it was a bit clunky and could have used work. I heard that they might have gotten a little bit better since with the patch and stuff, but I haven't really futzed around with it since the beginning of the game, for the beginning of my playthrough. So that's all I really got to say, honestly, about the game entirely. Like, that is the end of my review. Like, overall, it is a really great game. Bethesda did a great job, and I have no major complaints. Like, only had that one complaint. Like, I thought I'd have more complaints, but everything was mostly a pro with one major con. I could have missed some things, and if I missed some things, leave it in the comments. Like, I would love to hear what you guys think, especially with a review that I've had for like the last 5 months on postponing. But I would say it's definitely worth playing. It's a Bethesda game. You're going to devote hours upon hours, like I did, to this game. Like, I have about 100 hours of footage of that game that I'm only using a few minutes of for this review. But that shows you how much I played it. Like, I played it a lot, and I really, really liked it. I was frustrated at some points, but I've grown to like it since then. Like, the difficulty spikes is what made me frustrated. Oh, oh, that was one more thing I wanted to quick add. There was a surprising lack of bugs in my game. Now, I know that sounds weird to mention, but I remember playing Skyrim, not Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and they'd have these game crashing bugs, or they'd have these quest, unable to complete quest bugs, stuff very, very obvious that was very hard to beat until they patched it. And when I played Fallout 4 for the first time, like the first playthrough I had, I think I encountered maybe one bug. Just once. Like, I was able to fix it after reloading and stuff like that. I was able to fix it. But good job, Bethesda. Like, really, like, I was impressed that I didn't have to wait for a patch to be able to play the game. So I'm going to end it on that note. A really nice note, which is it's a great game overall. It's definitely worth playing. I'd say pick it up. New or used, it doesn't really matter. Me personally, I'm probably going to work on getting a controller so I can play it more the style I want to play it on the PC. I will say the graphics are beautiful too. Like, they were really great graphics. And I'm just going to throw that in at the end. Anyway, as always, this has been Moogle Squad. This is Scrye signing out. Y'all have a great day now.